Welcome to the Live Full, Work Fun podcast. This is the show to encourage you to live your life to the fullest and do fun work that fuels your lifestyle. Hi, I'm your host, Gayla Scrivener. Every week, you'll be introduced to amazing guests, useful resources, and inspirational stories. You'll discover opportunities and perspectives to shape your version of living full and working fun. Hi there and welcome. This is the show where we explore topics that help you create your lifestyle to live full and work fun. Today, joining me on the show is Leroy Collinwood. Leroy is the Chief Operating Officer of Health and Wisdom, Inc., a company that supplies pharmaceutical-grade topical magnesium. Leroy started his career in the software industry in the 1990s, doing software support, testing, and consulting, working for companies such as Intel and Microsoft, among others. He raised his family in the Pacific Northwest, but he really wanted to be his own boss. This desire led him to move back to his home state of Missouri and establish his first business. Now, the nature of this business might surprise you, so I'm not going to reveal that now, but you'll find out during my conversation with Leroy. Well, Leroy and his wife live and work near Stockton Lake in Missouri. They adore the area and find great satisfaction in their work, which involves providing a product that significantly impacts people's lives. I am excited for you to meet Leroy, learn more about Health and Wisdom, Inc., and his journey. So let's get right to the conversation, shall we? Welcome, Leroy. I am so excited that you're here with me today.
Thank you. It's nice to be here with you.
Why don't you share a fun fact about yourself that wasn't in the bio?
Yeah, something that may not have been in the bio was when I was a late teenager, 20-year-old, I got to spend like a year and a half in Argentina as a missionary. And one of my favorite places that I ever got to go was Iguazu Falls. And it's just a remarkable thing in nature. Thousands of individual waterfalls, and then there's this one great big Devil's Throat is the way it translates from Spanish into English. But this just gorgeous jungle and walking along this path, and you're looking down into this waterfall. It's just amazing.
What an amazing experience that not very many people get to do.
Yeah, about a year after high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you look back on that often, and for what a great experience for such a young person to do.
Yeah.
Leroy, you are Chief Operating Officer of Health and Wisdom. What is Health and Wisdom?
Health and Wisdom is a product-based company. We supply topical magnesium products, mostly in the United States, but we've got a few international customers that are out there. Magnesium is well known for a lot of things. And so we supply oils and gels and bath crystals.
What got you into this?
We stumbled upon it, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe part of the story is how we got to Missouri, where our business is located. We needed to find a company that we could own and run. And we had heard that there was a magnesium company for sale. The previous owner was ready to retire and had been running it for 20 years and said, okay, I need to retire. And so came across her, my wife, and she both had a really great connection. Just the natural healing, the health. My wife is a registered nurse, and boy, they just had a good connection. And so you work out all the details, you buy the company, and then you're off to the races and trying to figure out how to keep it going and grow it. And it was really, we stumbled across it, but we're so happy about it.
But your background is from a high-tech career. So what is your background, and what possessed you, I guess, to buy a business?
After college, I got a job working in the software industry. We ended up moving up to the Pacific Northwest, and I worked for companies like Intel, Microsoft, mostly in the consulting area, software development, testing. We did a lot of projects for some really cool companies that I can tell you some stories about. We lived up in the Pacific Northwest, raised our family there. And after being in the consulting business for a while, you know, doing stuff for everybody else in the world and helping them get ahead, and you're going, I wonder if I can get ahead. I wonder if there's things that I could do, that I could own my own business and do something on my own. But Health and Wisdom and Magnesium was not the reason that we moved to Missouri. We were thinking about, you know, what should we do? Where should we go? And I started investigating poultry farming.
Poultry?
And poultry, chickens,
Yep.
turkeys. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so I investigated all these different kinds of poultry options and decided, you know what? I bet I can run a chicken farm. And
that's totally different than the high-tech career that you had.
Yeah, it was a leap of faith to make that kind of a move, but pulled together our resources, found a really good farm, and bought that and moved to Missouri. I'll tell you a funny story. We had found this farm and loved the chicken farm, and the bank says, okay, you have to live within like 2 miles of the chicken farm because you have to be responsive. If there's ever any issues or things, you got to be able to be there. And we said, but there's no good houses within 2 miles. So essentially the bank said, you're going to have to just live on the farm, in the farmhouse. And we pulled up to it, and my wife started crying. It was so sad. It was in bad shape. But we, you know, immediately hired a contractor, got it all fixed up. We painted it with beach colors to remind us of Washington and Oregon, and you know, just brought in a lot of, you know, memories and made it a home. We lived there for 3 years. We ran 300,000 chickens every 8 weeks. Is how big our farm was. Most of these birds would go to fast food. So your Chick-fil-A's, McDonald's, you know, anybody that sells chicken fast food, a lot of it was coming from our farm. It's a big industry in southern Missouri. So ran it, grew it, got some good kudos from actually turned the farm around and made it into something better than it was. And then we got a knock on the door. The knock on the door was, hey, we want to buy your chicken farm. We said, we weren't really planning on that. You know, we're in this for the long term. We have a business. We're running it. Well, let us make you an offer. Okay. So we got the offer, and it was like, okay, we might just want to do something different than chicken farming. We actually sold this farm then and decided, you know, what are we going to do next? Do we buy another chicken farm? Do we get into instead of meat production, do we get into egg production? Do we do real estate? Lots of options. And as we were looking around, that's when we stumbled across Health and Wisdom. And, you know, from a business perspective, so my wife, you know, I told you my wife and the previous owner had this really good connection. From a business perspective, I'm going, a product company. That's what I want. I understand why product companies are what they are. And I had lived my whole career, interestingly, being tied to a limited income. There's only so many hours in a day that you can do consulting work. You log your hours, have a rate, and there's no more hours in the day. When you're doing chickens, you got so many square feet. There's no more, you can't fit any more chickens. You can't grow unless you're going to add more chicken houses, but you got a limit on that too. But with a product company, wow, you know, sky's the limit. You can grow it and make it into whatever you want it to be. So my wife was excited because Magnesium is such a great product, and that we can be in a business that is actually helping people and being good for people. And, you know, so both of us are on board with that. But for me to have a product-based company where you're not limited, you can grow on the internet, you can distribute into more stores. There's so many opportunities.
I love your story, Leroy. Being in Missouri, the chicken farm brought you to Missouri. Your wife had tears to see the house. You were there for a few years, but you stayed in Missouri. Did you have to stay in Missouri to own Health and Wisdom, or would you have the opportunity to go anywhere? Or was Health and Wisdom based in Missouri?
Yeah, they had built Health and Wisdom in up near Stockton Lake because that's close to where the previous owners, she and her husband, had lived, and so they just built some warehouses and put the equipment in, and there it was. So for us to relocate that would have been a lot of extra expense. Of course, we did end up buying the warehouses and the land around it, and so of course, there's expense with that as well. But the logistics of trying to relocate would have been immense. I mentioned we're near Stockton Lake. We are really far out in the country.
I know exactly how far out because I grew up right around there. I know, I mean, on the bottle it says Arcola, Missouri. And if you look at Arcola on the map, it is very tiny print because it is a very tiny place. You're in the county that I grew up in, and you're the first person that I've interviewed that has been so close to home. It just warms my heart that you can build your dreams. You don't have to be in a big city. You can be in a rural area. I just think it's wonderful that you're in my backyard and doing some wonderful things.
Well, yeah, and I didn't know that about you. Yeah, Stockton and Stockton Lake, this whole area it's farms, it's cows, forests, and then the lake itself is beautiful. It's the kind of lake that is protected as a water source, and so you can't have construction right up to the water's edge. And so when you're on the lake or driving around the lake, you don't see a lot of development, for good or bad. There's different people have different opinions, but yeah, we love our drive from our house to our business. We go over 3 Stockton Lake bridges on the way here, and it's in the fall time you've got the colors just popping and blue skies, and yeah, I could go on. It's a gorgeous place to live. So, I mean, you started off asking, did you have to stay in Missouri? And really, it was partly a choice to start looking local and deciding that, if we found something great, if we don't, then we'll, keep expanding. What is that next move for us? And we researched a bunch of different things, and just really happy with what we found.
I am so glad that you kept the company in the small town, in the economy, and that you stayed. I love it.
We're connected with the local chamber of commerce. Yeah, really great people, and it's small town chamber of commerce, but actually very big for the size of community we are. We've got a really healthy chamber of commerce in it, and love to be able to associate with them. And you're right, a lot of people have the same kind of dreams. Let's make it work where we live.
And I think that our technology can give us advantages for expanding, and we can be more rural if we want to. And that's what our choice of where we want to live. And we don't have to migrate to a city to have a prosperous life.
Yeah. I'll tell you a funny story about that.
Yeah.
So we buy the business. Here I am, a high tech person, and did I ask what was the internet speed before we bought the business? No.
No.
Silly me. And so we get here and start the transition process, and I'm going, it seems kind of slow. And so I ran a speed test, 1.5 megabits. I mean, okay, go back to the 90s.
Yep.
And 1.5 megabits is what we were doing. I stuck an antenna up on, cell phone antenna up on the roof, and we were getting, a whopping 30 megabits. We had to do something different to be part of the real world. And, but
yeah, did fiber come to your community? Because it did to our farmhouse.
yes, and that's what I was going to say is, 2 years into this process, we're going, when are we, what can we do? How can we do? And then they announced fiber through a grant. And so we were able to, get on the list and as patiently as we could wait for our turn to get.
And that is rural life, is being so remote that we have to wait for services.
We went from 1.5 megabits to 1,000 megabits, and it's made all the difference. Our ability to connect, our ability to manage the business and do more communication better.
Your magnesium products are in places like Whole Foods. I know around the Southwest Missouri area, Mama Jean's, that's where I had gotten yours, but I've been traveling and you're on Amazon. And I was just like, yay, because I ran out and I ordered and shipped it to my daughter. And I've been singing the praises, and I've used topical magnesium sparingly, I guess, in the past. Then I met you and you educated me of the benefits. And if you're consistent for 30 days, you really see benefits. And I have to tell you, Leroy, I have. And I really appreciate that. Could you speak into that a little bit about like the differences between, I mean, not the differences, but the benefits of topical over maybe ingestible magnesium?
And think of it as magnesium is the key in that phrase. Whether you get it through ingestion or get it by topical, your body needs magnesium. There's like over 300 processes that your cells in your body need this mineral, this critical mineral, to make sure that everything works. It's what helps nutrients flow into every cell. That biological level, that's what's going on. What we notice when we have magnesium, the right amount of magnesium in our body, is we'll notice we sleep better. Our muscles can recover more quickly after strenuous exercise or work. If you've got problems with headaches, those can be relieved. If you've got high blood pressure, that's improved. High blood sugars, that can be improved with your body having the right amount of magnesium. To your question on the difference between taking a magnesium pill supplement versus topical, putting it on your skin or soaking in a bath, what you're looking at when you take something by mouth, it goes through the digestive system and it's absorbed, it's broken down, it's absorbed in. Part of that can be absorbed and part of that can't be absorbed and is flushed through the system. The part that magnesium plays in the body is it draws water to it. And so in the digestive system, if you take too much magnesium, then too much water gets drawn into your system, and then you have too much water flowing out of your system.
Hence things like milk of magnesia.
That's exactly why. Yeah. And so, yes, milk of magnesia is magnesium. If you've ever had a colonoscopy, then you've got to, the first thing they give you is this magnesium drink, and you've just got to drink the whole thing, and and the whole purpose is to clean you out. So the thing that's going on is your body is limited in how much magnesium it can absorb through the digestive system because of that. So where you might say, your doctor will say, you need to get, 350 milligrams. Well, the reason they're telling you 400 milligrams is because that's the maximum that your digestive system can take before it starts flushing. That limitation is not there when you absorb magnesium through the skin. So you take a bath and put some magnesium bath crystals in, or bath flakes. You take the liquid magnesium, you rub it on your bottoms of your feet, or you put it on your legs, or you get a good back rub, 1,000 to 1,500 milligrams, which is not a problem. It's not a bad thing if you get a lot of magnesium through the skin. It is water soluble, which means your kidneys can, if your body doesn't need it and doesn't use it, well, your kidneys will take care of it. So yeah, you want to get a good dose. You were talking about a 30-day regimen. Yeah, that's a really good way to build those magnesium levels up to where they should be in your body. And for most people, most healthy people, giving yourself a good 30 days is a good amount to help you bring up those levels across all cells. And you'll start noticing changes. I could go into some more stories if you need to.
Well, for me personally, I didn't realize until you mentioned it's like, you need to get your levels up, so try a 30-day regimen. And now I've kind of backed off and I don't do it every single day, but I actually did it in the morning and the night. And I have this little spray bottle that I pour your magnesium oil into, and I spray the bottoms of my feet, rub it in, throw my socks on, do go about my business. And a couple of years ago, I had fallen and injured my foot. And there's always been that tinge of, there's been some pain there for 2 years. I mean, for 6 months, it was really bad. I was like, I guess I'm just going to live with this. And I have noticed that my aches and pains in not just my foot, but just in general, I just feel better. You mentioned that it helps you rest better. It helps stress level. I'm fascinated
Yes.
that it helps with sugar levels.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's because your body is, and my wife would be a much better person to explain the the way this works. But yeah, your body, the way it triggers insulin and how it interacts with insulin and keeping your blood sugars where they're supposed to be. Magnesium is a component in making that reaction work correctly.
Wow, I didn't realize that. I can tell that you're enjoying what you're doing. It's a product-based business that really jazzes you up. You had mentioned early on in our conversation that it's a product that helps people. So, what makes work the most fun for you?
There's a couple of things. What makes work fun is when I get to hear stories from people when they call in and they say, I'm ready to place a new order, but let me tell you what's been going on in the last month since I placed my last order. And you hear stories. There was a lady today, and she had these problems with her back and shoulders, like you were talking about, and she thought this is just going to be chronic, and she started using the magnesium and it changed her life. One of my favorite stories is you could tell it was an older person. Of course, we don't know how old, but you know a grandma kind of aged person gave us a call, and she said, since I started using your magnesium, I can walk up and down the stairs now. It has changed my life, because I guess she wasn't able to walk up and down the stairs,
Oh, yeah.
and now she can get around, and I can play with my grandkids now. Or you were hesitant to say it changed your life, but there are people that it has literally changed the way they live their life.
Well, if you're in chronic pain and there's something that you just didn't realize that it's a mineral that's missing, and we don't get this mineral from our food.
We
So,
can we can get it from our food, but it's tough.
mhm.
It's not like our ancestors, where the soils were rich in minerals, and there's just so much fertilizer and other things that go into growing our food right now, that it is different, and the amount of magnesium we get in our food is limited. But you can also eat a magnesium rich diet and receive some of those benefits that we've been talking about.
I love your product. And I'm glad to know somebody and to be educated. And I think that that's probably one of your challenges, isn't it? That you're in the business of educating people on knowing the benefits of magnesium.
That's right. We recognize that early on, that part of our mandate is to educate. Um, when people are shopping in the store, they pick up shampoo. They know what to do with it. When they pick up magnesium, they go, well, "What do I do with this?" And so we talked about putting it on the bottoms of your feet. That's because you've got best pores for absorption on the bottoms of your feet. From a business perspective, I'm the operations guy. You were talking about, um, what excites me, what makes it fun. My wife is the face of the company. She interacts with the customers more directly, and I'm the guy in the background. So we joke a little bit about, she brings in all the money and I spend it all. Uh, and so I'm always buying bottles and caps and labels and raw materials and fixing machinery and trying, so I'm spending the money to bring in, what we're going to eventually put together and sell out the door. It might sound weird, but one of the fun things that I like about my job is the variety of challenges that come across my desk. I almost never know exactly what I'm going to be dealing with that day. I try to schedule a few things, and I know that there's, upcoming orders and we've got to think ahead. I try to be flexible with how I spend my time and what rises in the priority list. And so that kind of juggling act might drive some people crazy, but I kind of like it.
I love that about you, Leroy. You see these challenges and it's like a puzzle. That's your superpower. You can do that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And I I think it might be part of my high tech early career stuff where I was doing software testing. The whole thing is trying to figure out how to break it, where the problems are, and then reporting it back to the developer so that they can fix it. Or, you might suggest solutions, you might look for better ways of doing things or interfaces. So I guess that's kind of in my DNA ever since, my early career. And I'm always looking for ways of trying to solve problems and make things better. And maybe that's why I was successful with the chicken houses too. It's a little bit of there's a little bit of art, there's a little bit of science when it comes to growing chickens and keeping them healthy and making them happy and giving them the right environment for them to thrive. You want them to have good lighting, you want to have good ventilation and water and food quality, and all of that makes a huge difference. And because we only had the birds for a few weeks, you're looking for, what can I do in these few weeks that would really make a difference and help them, be the best they can be.
Leroy, I'm so glad that you shared your journey because what I'm hearing is, you can be flexible. You don't have to be in a career for all your life, and unexpected things fall in your lap, unexpected opportunities that may shift your trajectory. You thought you were going to be a chicken farmer for many more years than you were, and here you are running a magnesium company. I love your journey. How can people find your product?
We are on Amazon. Search for Health and Wisdom, all three words, all spelled out. You can find us on the internet, healthandwisdom.com. Just all the words all spelled out, and just healthandwisdom.com, and there we are. And we are in a good number of stores. It's 2024. I'll tell you, we're in over 700 stores today. Might seem like a big number, but if you really know the retail business out there, you don't really say that you've arrived until you're at the 10,000 plus number.
Wow.
So again, a lot of opportunity, and that's what's exciting.
Service providers like massage therapists, chiropractors can get your product in bulk to utilize within their practices, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, so we're in stores, we're in those 700 stores, but we're also in many hundred physical therapists, massage therapists, chiropractors, and they use our products, they in their practice, and then some of them even resell it. It's a second income for them to be able to share the products that they use
And
in their
believe
practice.
in. Mm-hmm.
The person can get can feel the effects of this almost immediately, minutes, if they're in chronic pain, and they can start to see that, oh yeah, if I could take some of this home and use it myself.
There are some great businesses, I think, that, if my memory serves, that buy your product to put in, like, their soap makers or lotion makers and their holistic type of products that they make. They too use your product to infuse magnesium into soaps and lotions and things like that.
We are not just a product company that, sells our own branded products, but we're an ingredient supplier as well, because we have the exclusive arrangement to get the pharmaceutical grade magnesium in the United States. So it's, if you want the best magnesium in your products, then you get the stuff that they use in hospitals, pharmacies. So we're proud of that. And
well, that is a difference maker. Now, you have a special offer for a discount?
We do. For first-time purchasers, they'll get 10% off. You go to the website and a little, just like every website out there, a little pop-up comes up, says, "Hey, welcome to the website. Would you like to get a 10% discount? Here's how you do it." And so that's automatic for anyone that goes to the website.
Well, I'll have the links down in the show notes to your website, and everybody can follow you on social and stay connected with you. And I loved our conversation today, Leroy. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for joining me today. You'll find all the links in the show notes to connect with Health and Wisdom and Leroy. Let's continue the conversation, though. What's your biggest takeaway from today's show? Hop over to Facebook and post your thoughts about today's show in the Live Full, Work Fun group. Thanks again for listening. Until next time, have a fantastic week. Live full, work fun.